Good morning. Welcome to Frank's School. This is the 6-year, 77th day first video. I'm going to call it Meet Werdz. Words. I do this under the advisement of gloss. Earlier I said meet gloss. Now, I don't necessarily mean to be cryptic here, but gloss is the name that I'm giving to myself as I go back through Frank's School. And I'm working my way through the first year. I'm going to stay ahead, or it's my intention to stay ahead of a teacher or student who was going through that first 180 days. And I am ahead by about a week or two. And what I've just done is I've finished watching the part where I, or Frank, I could go crazy with you, in Frank's School, where I explain class vocabulary for the first time. And I took a number of videos, and I went through the experience of a week of class vocabulary. It did not catch on. I got almost no feedback at that time. The second year, after I had gone on and decided, well, I'm going to go with the second year, once again I tried class vocabulary. And once again it did not catch on. I even did it a third year, and it did not catch on. And it's been a frustration for me because it was the backbone of my class. I mean, it's the part that I can't actually present to you through a video camera because it wasn't, this is me. But in the class vocabulary was us. I mean, it was me and the students all learning together, all enjoying words. Now, I called it class vocabulary because that's what I learned to call it when I was in 10th grade in English class with Doc Blanchard. And I explained that. There is a playlist. I'm going to change the name. In frustration, I decided with class vocabulary, well, at least I'd put all my work on that, all my efforts to get that to catch on into a single playlist. So you could see how it was done. But I'm going to change that name to Werdz. And one of the things about it is, it's fine if you're learning from the stuff I'm teaching in these 6 years, or especially the first 2 or 3 years, which are more academic and more normal. But that was like the second half of any given class period when I was teaching in public school. The first half, more or less, or 15 minutes or so, was class vocabulary. And I was able to learn continually. The whole time I was a teacher, I was able to keep learning because the students would bring words in and I wouldn't know what they were. I wasn't using a textbook, I wasn't using a list, I wasn't using my own ideas. The kids would bring this stuff in and we would handle what they brought in. And and if you want to, well, you'll see it in the playlist, but I was covering public speaking ultimately because the students could run the show. They could get in front of the class without fear. I was covering punctuation, spelling, vocabulary, use of literary devices, just the kids sharing their work. I sort of pushed it to the max, but again, this you could see in a playlist. If you decided, you teachers especially, I'm talking to now. Matter of fact, I probably am not talking to anybody but someone who's willing to be a teacher, somebody who's willing to sort of host or MC this experience, to look at it. It was, day after day, class after class, teaching the same thing did not happen for me. In 30 years, 35 years of teaching, well, not when I was subbing I didn't do this, but when I was a regular teacher, it didn't happen because every day, every class period was different, at least at the beginning of it. It brought life into it, but I have utterly failed in my attempt to get others to even try it. I had one substitute. When I broke my hip at one point and different occasions broke my arm at one point, I couldn't get in there to school. I had one substitute. Her name was Gail. and she understood, and she ran it, and she had that kind of intellectual curiosity and sense of humor where she could run it. But I could not even get other English teachers within my school district to really try it beyond, you know, maybe 1 week. I don't know if they even gave it 1 week. And you know, amazingly, well, it's not amazingly at all. It worked for high achieving classes, and one of my all-time favorite classes I ever had was the, I don't know what you call it, learning support. I guess they were learning support. It was a mixture, and there were, I don't know, other adults in there as well and stuff. They dealt with it just fine, and they loved it, and they did great work, wonderful work. I was teaching them exactly the same material that I was teaching the high achievers. You know, my class was oral. It was not. It did not depend upon reading, and they. Well, in any case, it's a plea for somebody to actually try it. Now, what's got this in my mind now is because with my going through and gloss, I've reached the end of class vocabulary, and I'm about. In the first year, I'm about to go into the whole linguistic, foreign language, grammar, syntax, all that stuff. I'm about to start it, and it's a great place for a new beginning. That if you were jumping into this course now, or just found out about it now, and you've missed the first 18 days or whatever, and think, well, where do I start? Well, you could start right now, because it's going to be quite a change. But something else, I'm going to start volunteering at the jail if I'm allowed to. There's a jail in my community. I drive by it all the time. And it kind of got on my conscience a little bit, like that there are those souls who no doubt have done bad things that are in there, and they are no doubt suffering. And I thought, well, maybe if I volunteer to teach and learn in there, I can brighten their day and my day by once again having students engaged in this collective learning. So I decided one day, I just pulled in and I went in and I said, how do you volunteer? It's taking time, you know, they have to do a background check. I had trouble filling out the form and all that, and there's all these hoops to jump through. I've spoken about this before, but I suspect I'll eventually get to have a class. And I thought, all right, how do you interest inmates in putting their time, even though they've got lots of time on their hands, into something called class vocabulary or spelling or writing, you know? Well, maybe they would, I don't know. But I decided I'm going to call it Werdz. Matter of fact, I probably will have to call it Werdz if I get away with this. If I get away with this at all within the prison system, they have to have structure. They want to know, what are you going to teach? And so I thought, well, I'll see if I can get away with just calling it Werdz, because that might get the inmate's attention. But ultimately, this, the way I spell this would be Werdz. Werdz is the way I spell. Now, I would use standard English spelling, but I don't know. In any case, I Meet Werdz, and I'll tell you how that goes later on. But class vocabulary as a name, as a title, is going to be discontinued, and its name is going to become Werdz. Bye for now.